So I just became a parent about 9 months ago.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. His name's Cameron. And I was listening to a couple of your podcast episodes, just trying to prepare for this one. And it was the one that you brought your son on to talk before Rob Lowe.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one.
And I found his answers to be just like when I heard his age, I had to go back and be like, how old was this kid again?
That's right.
Because his answers were just really, really good and super thoughtful. And it also blew my mind that at the end of it, you made sure to say like, look, we did not have a conversation prior to this. This is all him. Like we didn't script this and nothing. Right. Cause I do have some parent friends who, their kids would come on stage or they'll get on their podcast, but it's all scripted. They want them to sound awesome or whatever. So I really respected that you just said like, let him talk.
Yeah.
But also his answers were amazing. So couple questions selfishly, sorry guys, on my end, as a father.
Yeah.
What do you do in order to instill that desire? Because he obviously has a desire to go learn things himself without you having to like push him to be like, go do this, go do that, go do that.
Ooh, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you can't.
Okay.
I got 3 kids. They're all different. I'm a crazy, intense entrepreneur. I've got one kid that wants to be a philosophy professor. It doesn't work that way. For whatever reason, you can't transfer your desires to your kids. And when you do, I think when you try really hard, you can get them to fake it for a little while, but then they rebel, as we've all seen. For me, I was a very high intensity dad. I felt like I could feel like I was winning if I did great dad stuff. And I'll give you a perfect example when this started, and actually sort of set the tone for the rest of my life. This one incident is I had all 3 kids. They were under 6 at the time. My wife wasn't feeling great. We were supposed to go to the beach. She's like, I'm not going to the beach. So let's find something else to do. I was like, oh, but the kids want to go to the beach. So I decided to take all 3 of them to the beach by myself. Not an easy thing as a dad and kids that young. I had 2, 4, and 6, I think. Maybe even younger. Oof. So as I'm driving there, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be torture. And then I just remember thinking to myself, you know what? What if Jeff Probst had showed up at the parking lot and said, okay, you're on Kid Survivor, and your job for the next 3 hours is to take these kids to the water, get them, have fun, feed them, bring them back, clean them up, and have a great time. And if you do that, you win the prize. Could I rally if it was a contest?
Yeah.
If there was a big prize on the line? And I was like, I totally could do that. So for the next 3.5 hours, I was competing as if there was $1 million on the line.
Yeah.
Chasing these kids around, getting them in the water, changing, having food, making jokes, having fun, like doing fun stuff, like just having the time of my life. And I don't remember if I was having fun doing this stuff, but I know I was like feeling kind of accomplisted, like if you're doing a Tough Mudder run, you'd be like, yeah, I just got a great time. I'm crushing this, right? Well, it is, again, a caveman, that I could do that. So I'm loading these kids back up in the car, and these 2 women come over, and they're like, I'm sorry, we don't mean to interrupt, but we've been watching you all day. And we just have to say, you were like the greatest dad we've ever seen. That was amazing watching you. We just couldn't resist. And I was just like, yeah, yeah. So I started developing that habit of, hey, I go to work. Hey, I come home. Like if I'm going to go dad mode, it's like out comes the cape.
Full out, yeah.
And I treat
Phil Dunphy dad
Yeah,
mode.
and I feel like, okay, we're going to crush it.
Right.
So that was good. But there's a trade-off for that. Okay, my dad did not wake up every day trying to figure out how to make me happy. Okay, my dad couldn't care less what I was going through on a day-to-day basis if it was just normal teenage stuff, right? Like his job was to educate me, prepare me, all those things for life. I'm in the mode of let's make this kid's life as easy as possible. Now, there's some great things to that. If you met my oldest son, you'd be like, he is the nicest, kindest, most generous, amazing kid ever. Not likely he'll be the next Steve Jobs. Not likely he's going to be Elon Musk, because he just hasn't been born with that fear of failure, of tough love, of figure it out for yourself or else. He will not be like, if I don't get a job, I can't eat.
Yeah.
Like there's a gift to poverty. There's a gift to hard times that parents today will not be able to give their kids. Now, I don't know what that's going to manifest itself, but your best chance is just get lucky.
Yeah.
Do the best you can and get lucky.
Shoulder type of
and some people need that. That's what propelled me in a lot of ways. It's probably what propelled you. But I've lost that with my kids, and you'll probably lose that with yours, because that's the way our society is now.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So good luck.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Yeah. The contest thing, that hits home for me for sure. Yeah. And that's definitely something to,
Well,
and
I train,
you look at the prize too, it's obviously much better than $1 million.
yeah, but I train people to do that in my high intensity and high performance series. And I've worked with professional athletes and I coach teams. I train people how to do that in every situation in their life, like to get your body used to winning situations. And this great exercise, if your audience is going to go out to lunch today or whatnot, if the waitress had a contest, who was the best customer today? Who enjoyed their lunch the most?
Yeah.
And there's a contest and she was giving away a $10,000 prize. What would you do to win or get in the running?
Right.
How would you act? How would you speak? What would you look like? How would you sit in your chair? How would you talk to her when she came there? Okay. If it was a genuine contest, you act a certain way.
Yeah, totally.
And your body and brain physiologically doesn't know the difference if it's a real contest or you just think it is. It doesn't know if there's a prize or not, right? And so it isn't about that moment. It's about training your physiological makeup to be in that mode more often. Oh, I'm going to win something?
Yeah.
I'm going to win a situation? Pshoo, bang, here I am. Watch me crush it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to pick up my car at valet. Dude, if this guy was giving prizes for the best valet customer, I'd be in the top 3 for sure. Right? You can train yourself to do that. You won't do it all day, every day, but you do it more often when you really want that attitude, when you want to bring something. Now your body's used to it. That's why professional athletes practice as hard as they play.
Right.
Because they need to be in intense mode.
You can't build the habit of half-assing something.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you look at the rest of your life, if you're someone who performs well at the office or performs well in an athletic situation, the rest of your life is probably half-ass. And if you don't think that rest of your life being half-ass and average affects your time when you want to be non-average, like, you're crazy. It does. Not just up on the practice court, not just at the office. Everywhere you are normal and average, that's what the rest of your life wants to be.
Yeah.
It's like average is chasing you down.
It's a force.
It's
like
a
gravity.
force.
Yeah.
And you got to practice it, and you can do it in any way. If you go to the movies, you're like, if there was a prize for who enjoyed this movie the most, what would I do differently? How would I sit in my chair? How would I act? And like, just those little exercises make a difference. And I'll do it sometimes just driving. Okay, the next 3 miles, if the Lord himself came down and awarded a prize, eternal life, to whoever drove these next 3 miles the best and enjoyed it the most, what would I have to do? And I guarantee people are listening to that, and it's like, close your eyes, think how you'd drive. Yeah. Think how you'd be. At home, when you're thinking about it, your chest fills up. And like, I do this on stage, and I will have 1,000 people. I could see them rising in their seats. I could see the smiles because I've told them we're going to have a who walks the next 7 steps the best. We're going to have a contest. Yeah. And I say, okay, but I need you to think about it. You can't come up here to do the contest and try to think about what you're going to do. And there's too many people. You got to know. So let's just take 15 seconds and picture how you're going to walk these 7 steps. 7 steps to $1,000. And of course, everybody's picturing themselves with their stroll or whatever, and they're all smiling and they're laughing. And it's like, okay, we're not doing the contest, but you just see the point. I'm not giving you $1,000. Your boss is too cheap. That's usually my joke. But yeah.
That's perfect.